beautiful property, and I'm so excited for my client is now, enjoying that place with his family. Got beautiful live water, beautiful home, and 80 beautiful acres to enjoy with his family and his kid. And one of the things that meant a lot to me is in the beginning, he said, I've been wanting a ranch since I was 13 years old. I'll just say he's in his mid 40s and he's got a very successful business right now. It's blown up and worth over $100 million. And he worked so hard, and he really just, I could tell how stressed he was. But when we went out on the property, that peaceful feeling that you get in God's great outdoors came over him, and I could tell he loved it. So I love that he has that outlet, because we all need our outlets, and he's got that now. And I'm just privileged and honored that I was a small part in that to get, to help him get that. So beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yo, 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 what's up? Welcome back to the podcast. And I have one of my favorite people in the whole wide world hanging out with me today. Now, I got to brag on this guy because just a few short years ago, he'll correct me and fill me in on the right dates and everything. But just a few short years ago, he joined me here at Mentorship Masters. He looked at the opportunity, and not only did he jump on it, he leaped onto it faster than most. He's a super smart guy. And I got to say, a lot of the smarts comes from his wife, Valerie. We'll talk about her as well a little bit. But this guy loves Jesus just like I do. He loves real estate. He's a go-getter. But the big thing that I want to brag on today is he recently just closed within the last week, the biggest transaction in Mentorship Masters history. That's right. $7+ million sale. I'm going to say it again. A $7+ million sale. It shattered all the previous records, which was right around 4 million, was our biggest sale in Mentorship Masters. And the amount of money that this guy took home on that check was more than most people make in a year on their salary, even executives. I'm talking over $200,000 in one check. So I just want to welcome to the stage, front and center, my man, Patrick Kelly. What's up, my man?
Knolly, you're too good to me, brother. Thank you. So good to see you. And I appreciate you having me today. And before I even talk about this big deal, I got to give God all the glory. It was an amazing experience, and I couldn't have done it without him, and I certainly couldn't have closed it without him. It was a difficult transaction, to say the least, but it has been life-changing, and I'm just so humbled, very, very grateful.
Yeah, a lot of times and sometimes we do get easy ones, and we thank God for those too. But sometimes we do get a curveball that helps us to really to grow, to learn new things, learn how to deal with people better. But in the end, all's well that ends well, and it ended well. So let's talk about it a little bit. I mean, obviously I want to talk about that. And I'm probably going to have you on multiple times in the future as well, because you're just a great guy and you've constantly done great production. You are a producer, and nobody's, in my opinion, there's an agent that doesn't become more attractive than when they're producing. And you and Valerie are big producers for us. So let's just talk a little bit around the deal, because I know everybody wants to know how in the world did it happen? Everybody wishes that I've never closed one that big. So walk us through, man. I mean, and we'll get into your history in real estate too. I want to get into that in a little bit. But walk us through this deal. How in the world did Patrick Kelly close a deal of this magnitude?
Well, as I said before, with God's grace and mercy and direction, but I will tell you that it kind of started several months ago. I took a continuing ed class on farm and ranch and learned a whole lot about mineral rights and fences and property ownership and wildlife exempt and ag exempt. It just was always been very interested in that sector. So this big deal was in fact a ranch, just to clarify. And I'm a big hunter, an ethical hunter, been hunting my whole life, and love to feed my family with wild game that we harvest in the woods, God's great outdoors. Also, 2 years ago, Valerie and I were fortunate enough to buy a small piece of property. I've learned a lot about building a fence and neighbors and wells and mineral rights and just all kind of stuff. So it's kind of been building. And lastly, I'll say what prepped me for this a little bit is I'm working with a different client on some big properties similar to this one. I don't know if it's ever going to happen, Nolly, but I've been working with him for a few years. I think he's waiting on a big check. I don't know if he's dreaming or playing the lottery or if he's really got something in the works, but I've learned a lot through that process as well. So all that being said, it led me up to a couple of months ago. Got a great waterfront listing on Lake LBJ, a couple of new construction homes. Made a great connection, Valerie and I did, with this owner. He referred me to another friend of his who built a home on the lake, on the other side of the lake, new construction as well. So we were just blown away and blessed and working hard to secure these listings and get them marketed properly. And just out of the blue, right around December 1st, right after Thanksgiving, the second builder I just mentioned messaged me that he had a good buddy who was looking at ranches up in this area and that he would appreciate if I could help him out. So I, of course, reached out to him immediately. An hour later, I loaded up my Polaris behind my truck, drove out to a ranch, met him and his girlfriend, showed him a ranch. It wasn't the one. Showed him a few more ranches over the next 30 days. And then, boom, we discovered this ranch outside of New Braunfels. It was perfect. And we wrote it up and closed 40 days later. Just that's the 30,000-foot view. I'm sure you're going to ask me more questions, but it was a personal referral and totally unexpected, but a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Yeah, a good friend of ours, Will Gilliam, he likes to tell us that, real estate is a contact sport. And you're out there making contacts. You talked about the relationships, one relationship built upon another. You happen to take a class. See, and one thing we know is that when the student is ready, the teacher shows up.
Amen.
And you have been a student, man, in your career. And you basically, when you showed up, okay, you actually talked like you knew what you were talking about, right? And it
Amen.
came through a friend. I mean, through a mutual relationship. That is so beautiful. You mean you're out there, you're immersed in the business, you live, you practice what you preach. You're also a big trainer as well. You do a lot of teaching and classes and everything. And then I know you do a lot of side training where you just help agents, give them advice and things like that. So yeah, man,
Yes.
this was, like you said, it was sort of like a long time in the making, but it did come out of the blue. It wasn't on the board. It was not something you expected. You hadn't been working on the deal for 2 or 3, 4 years. It was a 40-day close from stem to stern. That is,
Yes, sir.
man, I gotta say that's huge. It's big. It's big.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Beautiful property. And I'm so excited for my client is now, enjoying that place with his family. Got beautiful live water, beautiful home, and 80 beautiful acres to enjoy with his family and his kids. And one of the things that meant a lot to me is in the beginning, he said, I've been wanting a ranch since I was 13 years old. I'll just say he's in his mid 40s and he's got a very successful business right now. It's blown up and worth over $100 million. And he worked so hard and he really I could tell how stressed he was. But when we went out on the property, that peaceful feeling that you get in God's great outdoors came over him, and I could tell he loved it. So I love that he has that outlet because we all need our outlets, and he's got that now. And I'm just privileged and honored that I was a small part in that to get, to help him get that. So beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah, and you're a super humble guy, Patrick. Like you would never have even reached out to me to feature you or anything like that.
That's true.
I love your spirit, man. You're just out there doing
Thank
it.
you.
You're not trying to get any recognition. You don't want any stars on the board or anything like that. But we do run a Christ Center group here at EXP, and I'm all about it's to me it's kind of like evangelism. I'm all about sharing with other people what we're doing and how we're doing it, and that is a historical thing that God allowed you to do, man. And I don't know who's going to break your record anytime soon. That's a pretty big deal. But what I want to do now, I want to kind of peel it back and go to sort of like the earlier, you just starting out in your career. How in the world? Because something like this doesn't just drop out of the sky. I mean, it could drop out of the sky. I mean, we have a guy in our group, his first deal was over $1 million, first transaction. However, you were actually prepped. God prepped you for this for some time. Tell us a little bit about how your real estate career started.
Okay, I'd love to. I've actually only had my real estate license for 6 years. Um, I have been in sales, commission sales for 34 years. Always been a commission salesman, but in other businesses that I own an advertising company for over 20 years. That's been my main business until I met my wife, Valerie. I was living in San Antonio. She lived in Llano. We ended up moving to Horseshoe Bay, just a beautiful little piece of heaven here on the lake. And I grew up on this lake, but really in Houston, we had a place here. So I've just always felt wonderful here and happy here. So we came over, we moved here, and saw saw the house that we bought, and kind of decided that it would be great to get my license. So I got my license in 2018 and started selling for Remax, one of the largest brokerages here in town, and just a wonderful broker. He's still a very good friend of mine, and a great group over there. We cut our teeth there for about 2 years, and then just felt led to start our own brokerage. And we figured out a way to do it without being a broker. So we figured that out. We left on great terms with hugs and went out on our own. We were out on our own with Kelly Realty team for about 8 months. And then our good buddy that you mentioned a moment ago, Mr. Will Gilliam, we were at a social event at the club one day, and he talked to me a little bit about EXP, and I kind of brushed him off, and had my mind on building Kelly Realty team. And then about 3 weeks later, he just sent me an email with a little link to the video that changed my life. I like to call it the one that once you see, you just can't unsee it. And so I watched it one time late at night. I watched it, and then I watched it again, the whole thing. I almost went and woke up Valerie. She was asleep, but I was really excited. I knew in that moment that as long as Valerie agreed with me, that we were actually going to take our brokerage. So we just left Remax and started our own. And we were going to go, some would say backwards. I say forward all the way, back with a company that could give us more than it takes from us. And I say that to all of my friends and all of my people. I had somebody call me last week, a friend that I went to high school with, whose broker is retiring. And she mentioned you. She's heard about your training, Knolly. And I said, well, you should join my team. You get all of Nolly's training. Well, I'll leave
Don't
that there.
join under him. Yeah, that's the way to do it,
Yeah. But I
because
mean, you
they
join me and you get
automatically
all.
get me. Yeah, right.
That's
I love
right.
it.
You get access to Nolly,
Yeah.
and so, we had a long talk. I was actually at the pool. It was 91 degrees, and I answered the call, and I just talked to her, and I said at the very end of telling her all the details about EXP, and I don't mean to. I can't help but talk about the things I love: real estate, my wife, Jesus Christ, and EXP. I mean, those are things that make me happy and that are give great value to my life. So I'm not trying to recruit anybody, but I have a responsibility when I'm talking to people that they know the truth about what we've done and how grateful that we are that we did it. So the last thing I told this friend of mine, her name is Beverly, and I said, let me just leave it there. I've told you, answered all your questions, but imagine a place in the real estate industry with a brokerage that gives you more than it takes from you. Now think about that for a second, because I could talk about that all day long. And so we joined DXP. We've never regretted it. That was in May of 2021. And as you said in the beginning of this recording, I when I believe in something, brother, let me tell you, I mean, I'm all in, and I was all in. You saw me that day. I invited every realtor that I knew personally to a fabulous luncheon at the club, and studied my tail off, and did a very poor imitation of Brent Gove's EXP Explain. But I
You
had
did a
8 agents.
great job. You hit it out of the
Thank
park.
you.
Yeah, you really did.
I made a lot of mistakes, but my passion was there, and I just knew what was in front of me, and I wanted to let everybody that I cared about know about that as well. And so we had a great day there, and it's just been a great journey. I mean, we do sell a lot of real estate. We're very fortunate. We cap pretty early, so therefore we get to take home a lot of what we earn, and that's a big thing too that we love about EXP. And like this ranch, I mean, that was 100% mine, or that check wouldn't have been that big. So I'm very grateful for that, and it's just been a wonderful ride. And I've met great people like you, and And if I could say one more thing, just about the way I walk and live out my life. Just yesterday, Knolly, I was with one of my new agents that joined my team, and she's under a lot of pressure, but she's also doing very well. And when I was talking to her, she started crying. Just all the pressure leaning in. She's had to get another job recently, but now she's joined my team. She's got 2 or 3 deals working. And I was like, she started crying. We were talking about the pressure because she's also got young children. But what happens is when people are, I guess, meeting their needs with real estate and they get another job, usually I think that the real estate portion just kind of goes dormant. But with her, it kind of came alive, and so I was like, you kind of wishing you hadn't taken that other job. She said, yes, but I don't know what to do. And she started crying, and I just reached over the desk and I grabbed her hands and I prayed with her. And Valerie will tell you, a lot of people around my life, I prayed in 1 hour. I prayed with her. And then one of my clients came in. She's a lady in her early 80s, and been talking to her about selling her home here in Horseshoe Bay. She came in, was stressed out, and started crying. I had to reach across the desk and pray with her as well. And to me, that's a great day, because I have a saying that was taught to me by somebody much greater than me, that, you might be the only Jesus somebody sees today. And I'm not afraid to pray, and I'm not afraid to pray in any situation. If the Holy Spirit puts it on my heart, I'm just going to say, not can I pray for you later, but let's just hold hands now, and let's bring it to Jesus right now. And I hope that's okay that I share that, because it's a big part of your life and my life. And
huge.
And I think it's a big part of the reason that I'm so blessed, because I give honor and glory to Jesus.
Amen. 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 And this is a show where we really don't hold back. I had no idea what you were going to talk about. We didn't rehearse anything. You just, you just set up your camera and said, "Okay, I'm ready." I'm like, "Well, do you want any briefing or anything?" You're like, "Man, I'm ready." So we're just into it, and that's what it's very interesting that you say that. And obviously, we didn't get on here to even talk about EXP, but in my talks, I tell people the 3 things that have changed my life. Number 1, Jesus Christ. Number 2, Josie, my wife. And number 3, EXP. If I was to name the 3 things that have made the most profound, and I've been an entrepreneur since 12 years old, but I've never seen a model anywhere close to this. It's just amazing. So
it's unduplicatable, right? People out there right now are trying to duplicate it, and they can't. And I don't mean to get off on EXP, but I can't talk about real estate and all of my blessings in real estate without acknowledging the brokerage that I love, and that's how I feel since the day I joined. But I'll talk more about something else. I'm sorry.
Well, what I want to talk about now, what I want to really talk about next is, because right now we've got a lot of agents. Right now, you're listening to this right now, you're an agent, and you're like, okay, that's all well and good. This guy, he closed this. You can see how humble he is about it. He closed a $7 million deal, put over $200,000 into his bank account, and he's not like going on vacation for the rest of the year. He's still out there doing it. Okay. And this is what he teaches. He's got a beautiful team. He's got agents all over the country and all over the world as he's growing his organization. But I want to talk, Patrick, to that agent right now that's just struggling, man. They're like, because I talk to them, they're like, man, the market's bad. Nobody's selling anything. I can't get a deal. I can barely pay my bills. I don't know what's going on with this market. The worst market I've ever seen. I don't know how I can make any money. And you seem to make it like easy, like you're just skating through, and so again, so speak on that, man.
Okay, sure. By the way, I'm laughing because, we all started one day in real estate, and it was hard. I don't know many people, except maybe a few people in COVID, that just somehow got connected and started selling $1 million houses. I love, how do I say this? From my heart, I want to help that struggling agent. And more than anything, really, I would say, number 1, pray. Pray every day. Get up with your routine, read a devotional, read the Bible, say, Lord, whatever you got for me today, please direct me, because sometimes I don't see clearly, but I know that your plan for me is better than my plan for myself. Lead me to where you want me to prosper. That's what I would say every day. And I got goosebumps just saying that, because I believe in that prayer, and I've said it. Number 2, I'm going to give you 4 or 5 tips to that struggling agent. May I do that, Knolly?
Sure. Let's go.
Number two, and on that line, and then I'll get to the basics and fundamentals of real estate. But number two, declare that you live in God's economy. You don't live in the United States government's economy or the world's economy. You are beloved by Jesus Christ, and He wants nothing but the best for you. So pray for that, receive that. Okay. Jeremiah 29:11 says, I know the plans I have for you, agent, and they're not plans to harm you, but to give you hope and a future. That's a promise from God. So claim that, okay, every morning, and get up and get busy, put on your clothes and groom yourself and go out and go to a coffee bar and, have a cup with your name on it, or just talk to people, get out and increase your sphere of influence. You should be posted on social media all the time because your friends are going to forget you're a realtor. And let me tell you, the first time one of your friends posts that they bought a house and they didn't use you, you'll never forget to post on social media again. So make sure you're doing that. That's free advertising. Another thing you can do is go out and sit in open houses. That's a great way to pick up free clients. You don't have to pay Realtor or Zillow or any brokerage and pay them a referral. You go sit in an open house for 4 hours on a Saturday and pick your open houses carefully. But, lately open houses are bringing in 10, 12 people over here in Horseshoe Bay. Now, I know not every market's like that, but promote it in MLS, promote it on your social media, and put your signs out. I have a trick where I put a little balloon on my open house signs and it's blowing around and it kind of distinguishes my sign from somebody else's, might get somebody to turn. And then when they come in, you ask if they're working with an agent. If not, they're going to ask you some questions. Say, well, I'll tell you what, if you give me your email address, I'll email you the answers to those questions by the end of the day. And then see if you can pick them up as a buyer. I mean, that is the best way I know of to get out there and make some money and build your client base is open houses. And you can reach out to successful agents. And I'm not saying I'm a successful agent, but let me just say, I've got several properties listed right now that if someone just called me and said, I'd like to sit in one of your properties and do an open house this weekend, I would say, fantastic. Now, I don't pay people to sit in open houses. Some people do. I don't, but I'll tell you, you can have every lead that walks in that door. And I don't need anything from you. You don't have to give me a referral. Build your business that way. It's the best way to do it, in my opinion. And I think, another thing is people like to do withdrawn listings and expired listings and FSBOs. I mean, you've written books about that, Knolly, so I won't go too deep into that. But basically just prayer, get up, go to work, sit in an open house every weekend, promote yourself on social media. Somebody's going to reach out to you and say, okay, new agent, have you ever sold $1 million house before? And you're going to say, no, ma'am, but I know how to. And I've been properly trained and I would love the opportunity. And you know what? Right now I could focus solely on you. Those are things that will, I think, get you in some doors and get you out there. And it's about to be warm weather. The bluebonnets are coming out in Texas, which is a big time in Texas in the Hill Country. People have a revived sense of renewal and springtime and excitement. The lakes come alive, and where we live around a bunch of lakes, and everything is going to pick up. And get out there and take advantage and get your piece of that. And then don't forget, when you're successful, give all praise to where that success comes from, because it's not just you.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I mean, nobody succeeds alone. And
no,
I tell you what, that is some powerful advice. One of the biggest agents that we have at our parent group here called Next Level Agents, he does the majority of his business through open houses, and he does over 50 deals a year. Super successful agent, and he only lives on 50% of his income. The other 50% he donates. And so he's a great guy. So because I've heard agents, Patrick, that say, you know what, I'm going to go back to work. I'm going to go back and get a job. And I'm like, you could do that. That's certainly an option. However, I've not found any industry since I got my license 20 years ago. I've not found an industry where I can make as much money as I can make than this business right here. I just haven't found it. And so, really, if you go out and get yourself one deal a month, and we've got, Patrick certainly has a very easy strategies for doing that. You go out there and get you one deal a month, it will be better than probably any job would pay you anyway. So, And then obviously bring up your price point. The whole thing about open houses, you can do them in the higher price points if that's where you now want to be. So you can be
Yep.
very selective with that. So good stuff. What do we leave? Mainly, Patrick, honestly, man, I'm good. Like I was like, I just wanted to get on here and find out how in the world did you close a $7 million deal? Because that's what people want to know. And you laid it out for us. It's all about relationship, being in the right place. First of all, you were in the game. You learned the game. Okay, you could what we call spit the game. You could talk about what you know articulately. You could articulate to people, and they knew that you knew your stuff. And then you had people that said, "Oh, hold on, wait a minute. Oh, you want a ranch? You got to call my buddy Patrick." Now, I guarantee you, if you didn't have the business acumen, if you hadn't had that foundation built to where he felt like he could trust you with a good friend of his, you wouldn't have never gotten that referral. Okay. And so now, guess what? Patrick's going to get a bunch of referrals to other people that want to buy ranches because he's already done it. You see, he's already got a feather in his cap, and the next ranch might be 20 million. Who knows? But really, that could be you. Anybody, wouldn't you say that, Patrick? Anybody that's within the sound of our voice, this could be the lifestyle that they could also enjoy as well if they chose it.
Absolutely. And, you've got to dream it and dream big, okay? Because dreams are, meant to become realities. And I would say that whatever you want, work hard for it and proclaim it, literally proclaim it. I'm going to be a ranch salesman. I'm actually, before the ranch even closed, Nolly, and this is, I don't know, this might make me say, I've designed a brand new logo, Kelly Ranch Sales. And I've
Mm.
got it. I've printed magnets for my truck. I've got cards now. I'm proclaiming. It's like in the Old Testament, God would say, prepare for rain. They'd go plant the vineyards, and and people would be like, "What are you doing?" I'm preparing for rain. When it rained, the crops were abundantly blessed and overflowing. And so I feel like God wants the best for me. He let me sell this ranch. Now, God, I want another ranch. I want to become known as a ranch salesman. And what I mean by that is I'm just proclaiming that, and I'm working towards that and believing that. Most importantly, you got to believe in yourself. I think that's a big problem today. And I'll tell you, Nolly, I've experienced this with some of my agents, newer agents mainly, but confidence levels are not where they should be. And that's what
Mm.
I would love. I'll visit with
Yeah.
anyone
Speak to
listening
that.
to.
Speak to that. Speak to that.
You got
Talk
it.
about it.
It's part of, because it's part of my, I don't know, it's part of my profound belief that when you look in the mirror, you don't always see what God sees and what other people see. And I think it's really, really important to know how valuable and wonderful you are. And if you don't think so, Nolly, at the end of this, give them my number. And I mean it. Give them my
Yeah.
cell
Yeah,
phone
for
number.
sure.
I'll tell you, because I just think that we need to have more confidence in ourselves. A lot of people do, because they don't feel like they're scared. In fact, I've asked me, "Are you terrified?" I'm terrified. Well, what are you terrified? Everything, getting
Mm.
rejected, okay, failing, all these things. Which, in sales, I understand that's part of it, but it's not all of it. Remember, there's those paydays and those big successes, and those will outweigh the failures and the no's. They really will. And you just got to keep at it. And I think you team up with someone who will encourage you and remind you when you need reminded how amazing you are and what your potential could be, because it's really unlimited. If you believe it, believe me, you can accomplish it. But if you don't believe it, you will never, ever accomplish it. And I've learned that through my own life, by the way. So I just am only like sharing that with other people because I've experienced it.
Man, I mean, I love everything you said. And I really love how you kicked it off. You said confidence levels are not where they should be. And I think that's a very nice way to put it. And I
Well,
thank you
that's
for
the
that.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Oh, you
yeah,
bet,
thank
buddy.
you. Thank you for that. So how can agents get in touch with you? I mean, obviously, we're in such a way here where you can work with any agent anywhere in the world,
Yes.
we're in over 20 countries. So they're listening to this and they're like, man, this is the type of guy, Nolly's cool, but he hadn't sold any homes lately. This guy right here, this Patrick guy, hold on a second. He's actually in the game, and he's been in sales for over 30 years. He's got skills. And if you really want to learn the skills that pay the bills and bring the meals, then Patrick is your guy. So how
I
can we
love how
get a
you just
hold of
said
you?
that.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Well, I mean, I'll give you my phone number. You want me to just read
Yeah,
my phone
whatever.
number?
Yeah. Hmm.
Sure. My number is 210-240-3042. That's my personal text. So if anybody wants advice, you don't have to join my team for me to lay a little bit of love on you and help you and encourage you. That's the more that I'm successful, the more I just want to share with other people. And that's what I try to do in my team is help my team members build something on their own that they're proud of, that they can retire on, or whatever your dreams are. My email is Patrick, Patrick, at kellyrealtyteam.com, and Kelly has one E. And if you want to email me, if you'd like me to visit with you and help you, no strings attached, I'd be honored to. But you spoke to one really neat thing about our brokerage, Knolly, versus other brokerages where there's no geographic restrictions with EXP. My
Right.
sister Stacy lived in Mexico for many years, and she is now looking at a group of 5 people that work together in Mexico, and they're wanting to join her team, and she's working with them. And I'm gonna, I think, speak to them in a few weeks, or some people she's working with. But I mean, you can have friends in Australia, the UK, all over the world that are on your team, but can be a brokerage within a brokerage. In other words, if you've got your own branding, I mean, look, I have Kelly Realty Team when I left Remax. I have Kelly Realty Team now. Everything is the same except for the EXP logo beneath it,
Right.
and I'm proud of that. But it's you can. I've just never had them tell me you can't do something, and I just love the fact that if you've got a friend in Australia, you can help them build a team, and you benefit from the company's gratitude. You never take, or I don't take money from my team members personally, but I just love helping them build something and stand on their own. So if I can ever help somebody do that, it would be a privilege and an honor to do
So
that.
good. So good, man. I thank you so much for your time. I know you've got to go out and, write another listing agreement, or, do what you do. How about social? How can we get in touch with you on social media? What's best?
Sure, we have quite a social media presence that we've worked on. Our website is kellyrealtyteam.com, and there's a way to contact me there. There's
Perfect.
also a lot about joining our team on that website. We're at Kelly Realty Team on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook.
Mm.
So I think we're out there. You can find us if you want. If you can't call me, you can see what we're doing, and it's made a difference in our business, the social media presence that we built over the last 12 months. So we're very proud of that as well, and we hope to take it even to the next level this year. But I will just leave this by saying, if you want to
Sure.
be successful in real estate and you're brand new and you don't have anybody direct, and you reach out to myself or Nolly, number one. And if you can't, or you're not confident enough, go out and do open houses and increase your social media. And you know what? The best social media posts I've ever seen are bloopers, very authentic. People don't care that you're perfect and put together well. They care that you're authentic. One of my agents put a social media post of all of his bloopers, and he got more likes than any other video he ever did about one of his listings. So remember that authenticity is what people want to see from anybody when they're on social media. And so do those two things, and I believe in the next 30 days, your real estate career will grow at least some, and then build on that. So I hope
Man,
I've
I'm
helped
glad
just
I'm
one
glad you
person
mentioned
out
that
there.
tip. I'm going to take that tip to heart because just this morning I was asked to do a video for just to promote my upcoming training that I have in Austin, Texas. Going to be in Dallas and Houston as well. So I'm out
Good.
there recording my videos, and it was like the guy said like a 40-second video. So I'm like, man, no problem. This Uncle Nolly, man, I made so many mistakes, Patrick. It was pitiful. And so finally I said, you know what? I'm just going to have my video guy. I couldn't do it in one take. So I said, I'm just going to have my video guy edit this and make it look good. But I've got a lot of bloopers that I actually deleted. But guess what? They're in the deletion bin. So I can go retrieve them, and I'll have my guy make a little reel and say, hey, this is how it goes on some days.
Well, you know what? You say it, a reel, right?
Yeah.
the truth is that real is the real Knolly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
None of
true.
us,
That's right.
I have a saying that I like to tell my agents, and that is, hey, your sucky video is better than that guy's non-existent video. Okay. At least it's something.
Mm,
So
yeah,
that's another thing a lot of us had to learn. Like, we don't think we look good. We don't think we sound good. Just do the video and try and promote the property. And people
right.
get used to you. And it's okay if it's not perfect, because I don't know about you, Nolly, or anybody listening, but I don't want to be around a bunch of perfect people. I want to be around a bunch of real people that are authentic, and I always want to be around smarter people that can teach me, and that's another piece of advice I would give to your audience. Valerie and I invest in a lot of real estate conferences where we can go and hear and listen and learn from the brightest in our industry. For example, next week we'll be in Cabo San Lucas at one of our legend and our brokerage's events, and we're going to sit there and we're going to take notes for 3 or 4 days. Yes, we're going to have some fun, but during the conference times, we're going to learn all these. Every year when we go to these, we learn new tricks to social media, getting listings, what's going on. They have their finger in the pulse of the economy and the market. We learn so much, and then we bring it back and we disseminate it between our group and our agents. And so it's really exciting. So that's another just last tip. I think I'm going to keep giving you them tips until you cut me off, Nolly. But I
Yeah,
mean this very humbly. I
sure.
just want people to understand different things that'll work for them to grow their business, and hang around smarter people. Take
Mm,
a guy to take the number one agent in your market, buy him lunch, and say, you know what? I just love how successful you are, and I just wonder if you have any great tips for me. I guarantee you'll get more out of the $12 you bought for his chicken fried steak. You'll get to take and use some tips that you didn't know to grow a business and emulate him or her.
that's
Um,
right. That's
so
right. And so many of us are givers. I'm going to let you give the last word. You've given us so much good stuff outside of
uh,
what I reeled you in here for, which was just give us the inside skinny on that big deal. But what have we left out? Is there anything else you want to share before we say sayonara?
Man, I don't think so. I will just always go back to trying encouraging people. And I just want to encourage anyone that God put you here today to hear this from Nolly or myself, just that you're worthy, and you're good enough, and you're a rock star. Even if you haven't grown into that yet, you can and you will. And Nolly and I and others will help you. Um, just be confident. Look in that mirror and try and see who God sees every morning. And I think that'll make a difference in your life. Confidence breeds success. And that's what I wish for everyone listening today.
So powerful, so powerful. My man, Patrick Kelly in the house. Thank you, brother. You knocked it out of the park, man. This is so good. It's going to be very inspirational. I
Thank you,
bless you.
Nolly. I bless you back, brother. Take care. I'll see you soon.